is a day without blessing. And a life without prayer is a life without power. Now I invite Samina Barwin, 3rd BSc Microbiology, to invoke the blessings of Allah.
Sajila, who is doing the prayer? It is not audible. Ask her to unmute.
Ma'am, her mic is disabled, ma'am. Samira Barwin.
Wait, I will make it. Samira, you can do now. Samira, did you hear me? Samira Barwin. Please unmute your mic and proceed, ma. Sajila, you can recite any 2 verses.
Okay. الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. All praise belongs to Allah, Lord of all the worlds, the all compassionate, the all merciful. The day of judgment, you alone be worthy, you alone be asked for help. Guide us to the straight path, the path of those whom you have angered, not of those who earn your anger, not of those who have gone astray. Sadaqallahul Adim. Small cheer and great welcome makes a merry feast. Now I invite Ms. H. Nurul Samsun Maharifa, Assistant Professor and Head of the Department of Microbiology, to deliver the welcome address. Ma'am.
Yes, ma. Assalamu alaikum and good morning, everyone. It's my prime duty to welcome everyone to this national webinar on impact of plastic on marine environment. We are so pleased to organize this event on the account of International Coastal Cleanup Day. Traditionally, third Saturday in the September was observed as the International Coastal Cleanup Day. And as well, today is an International Microorganism Day. Luckily, two needs with one deed achieved simultaneously. Today, we have a perfect resource person amidst with us today for this session. First, I delighted to welcome our resource person, Dr. M Anand, Assistant Professor and Head in Charge, Department of Marine and Coastal Studies, School of Energy, Environment and Natural Resources, Madurai Kamaraj University, Madurai. Indeed, I made in behalf of our institution wholeheartedly. I welcome you, sir. My splendid welcome to Madam Principal Dr. S. Sumaya, dynamic leader who is succeeding in entire activities of the institution. I welcome you, ma'am. My special welcome to Dr. M.S. Irfan Ahmed, Director, Research Institute and Industrial Relations, and the HODs for joining us today. My pleasant welcome to all my aspiring students, research scholars, and faculty from various institutions eagerly waiting to utilize this webinar. My heartiest welcome to all my colleagues who determinedly occupied supporting me in all the activities of the department for the betterment of the student and the institution. I wish to share the starting point of the coastal cleanup program. Long since, I am very fortunate to know about the International Coastal Cleanup Day was observed at the Gulf of Mannar region nearby Siniapa Dargah, organized by Madurai Kamaraj University in association with the Ocean Conservancy. This grabbed my attention to participate with them. This was successfully continuing since 2016 with the support of our Madam Principal, Dr. S. Sumaya, and a special mention to Dr. Anand, sir. He encouraged our interest in participation and gave chance for us to volunteer the event. Furthermore, Ocean Conservancy worked with volunteers around the globe to remove the trashes from the world, beaches and waterways. This activity contribute the database on marine debris, and this is the major threat of our ocean. I truly believe this webinar will inspire the people to engage themselves in action in conserving the marine environment. Once again, I welcome you all to this webinar. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Thank you, ma'am. A great person who attracts great people and knows how to hold them together. Now, I would like to invite the inspiration of our institution, Dynamic Principal Madam, Dr. S. Sumaya, to give keynote address.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for calling me to participate in this national webinar on International Coastal Cleanup Day to commemorate this day as well as to commemorate the International Microorganism Day. We are well connected with everything, and at this moment I am very happy to see Dr. M Anand, professor and head Department of Marine and Coastal Studies from the School of Energy, Environment and Natural Resources from Madurai Kamaraj University. Hearty welcome to you, sir.
Thank you.
I am very happy that he has accepted our invitation to deliberate on the impact of plastic on marine environment, and waiting to listen to him about what kind of impact already, though we know certain things, we do not know many things that we have to explore and address all these issues to overcome the issues to solve the problems. That is in the hands of youth of this day, and I am very happy Professor Samshun Maghriba and her team of colleagues uh, have taken this initiative. And because we know this college is located in the Gulf of Mannar region, and it is our bounden duty to address all these issues which our marine environment is facing, and currently what are the issues are going on, how we need to address these things, and as a higher educational institution of this area under Redagappa University, our bounden duty, once again I am telling you that we need to explore and interact with the scientists as well as the academicians who can take up things to solve and to resolve these issues for the betterment of the human population living all along the coastal region of this Tamil Nadu. And you know that this is the world's best marine environment. We have we are very lucky enough to have it on this region, and we need to see that we need to preserve, we need to conserve, and we need to protect all the marine resources of this region for making life peaceful and happy for people who are living around. So I know very well that since 2016 we have been associated with Madurai Kamaraj University, uh, with the Department of School of Energy Environment, and I hope we are waiting for many things which will help us to support each other. And Dr. M Anand, definitely he will come up with issues what we can address as a research projects to various funding agencies. And I feel that this is the high time that the collaborative initiatives of the higher educational institutions and universities of excellence like Madurai Kamaraj University, if we travel together, definitely we can make things happen in future for the future betterment of our region. Thank you one and all for listening to this, and I wish to remind you that today is also the day we have to commemorate the Samuha Nidhi Nal. We call that is Social Justice Day, and it is and what kind of justice we are going to give it to the living organisms around as well as to the people who are living here. So the question is thrown open to explore and kindle, and our inquisitive mind will help us to know and to know how to address these problems which the environment is facing in the current scenario. Thank you one and all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. To the speaker, feel especially welcome and the attendees to know more about this. Now I welcome Dr. V. Diana, Assistant Professor, Department of Microbiology, to give the introduction about the guest for today's webinar.
Good morning, everyone. I'm honored and privileged to introduce our resource person, Dr. M Anand, serving as Assistant Professor and Head in Charge in the Department of Marine and Coastal Studies, School of Energy, Environment and Natural Resources, Madurai Kamaraj University, Madurai and in Pudumadam campus. He is Served Care Fellow, Coordinator of Bachelor of Vocation Agriculture course, Coordinator of Sea Club. His scientific interests are climate change and ocean acidification, marine natural products and nanosciences. He cleared eligibility exams conducted by various boards like National Eligibility Test NET October 2001 with subject specialization fish and fishery science. Agricultural Scientist Recruitment Board ASRB and ICAR Indian Council of Agricultural Research New Delhi. He is trained scuba diver. He is proficient in science journalism. His administrative experiences are head in charge, teacher counselor, team in charge of marine research lab at Pudumadam, Ramnad district, Tamil Nadu, India. Principal investigator of design, planning and execution of various externally funded projects in the Department of Marine and Coastal Studies. Program coordinator in charge for organizing various national and international workshops and conferences and conducting outreach awareness programs for the local fishermen, school and college students on the importance of the conservation of marine resources. He is currently working with funded projects as Principal Investigator of Teacher Associateship for Research Excellence, photovoltaic evaluation of marine-based photosynthetic pigments as co-sensitizer for efficient solar cell performance. Funded by Science and Engineering Research Board, SERB, DST, New Delhi. Total cost 18 point something lakhs. Co-principal investigator, assessment of the resilience potential of coral reefs and aragonite saturation state in the Gulf of Mannar towards recurrent episodes of coral bleaching. ICOR, Central Research Institute for Dryland Agriculture under competitive grants components of National Innovations in Climatic Resilience Agriculture funded agency. Total cost 35.5 lakhs. Conference and a workshop organized 18. Supervision of research scholars, PhD awarded 11. MPhil research 7. MSc dissertations 27. Total GenBank submission 60. Invited lectures delivered 57. Research article publications full paper proceedings 12, national 21, international 38. He was awarded with MDT Young Investigator Award 2012 for specific investigation, KTSTM Trust Best Environment Campaigner Award 2015, Excellence and Innovation Award 2016 of Pearl Foundation, INSA Visiting Scientific Fellowship for 2017 to 18, Host Institute IIT Chennai. Teacher, Teachers Associateship for Research Excellence CARE Award 2018 to 21, served Host Institution NIT Tiruchirappalli. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Best Scientist and Distinguished Fellow Award 2020, Bose Science Society, Tamil Nadu Scientific Research Organization, Pudukottai on 28 February 2020. I made his introduction precise. It runs 2 pages. With this, I thank everyone for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. If your actions inspire others to learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. Now, I would like to invite our resource person, Dr. M Anand, Assistant Professor, Head of the Department of Marine and Coastal Studies, School of Energy, Environment and Natural Resource, Madurai Kamaraj University, Madurai.
Very good morning to all. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, before I start the lecture, I would like to thank the management of Thassim Beevi Abdul Kader College for Women for giving me the opportunity to deliver a lecture in the national level webinar on International Coastal Cleanup Day. At the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Suma ma'am, principal of the college, and Samsun ma'am, head of the department microbiology, for their consistent interest in organizing this International Coastal Cleanup Day. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for your encouraging support for us in conducting this program for the past 8 years in Gulf of Mannar region, and I am happy that it is being continued further, even in Kilakarai beaches. This is my long wish, which has to be taken to the local people of Gulf of Mannar region. I am happy that it has been taken this year by Thassim Beevi College, and all the support will be extended from Madurai Kamaraj University for all the activities, ma'am. And I assure in this occasion. Thank you, ma'am. Just a few words. I would like to directly go without wasting any time. I would like to go to the lecture. So today's lecture is on impact of plastic on marine environment. I think I mean lot of things about the impact of plastic. We have heard about from various social media. Even you would have studied from the academic and all. But what is the reality? When it's come to reality, we are living with plastics, and the plastic age in which we are living is inevitable. So where you in our day-to-day life, plastics are much associated in our life. But what is the impact of these plastics when it is being getting disposed into the environment, and how is going to affect the marine environment? It is not much visible. But when it comes to the hierarchy of organisms or the food web or the ecosystem level, it is still more not clear. Still a lot of research is going on. So some of the impacts I would like to highlight here in the present discussion, and also about the coastal cleanup day. So because as Samson ma'am has rightly pointed out, ICCD is being observed in the third Saturday of every September. But we should know how this event has been started and why this event has been started and what the struggle and who has been pioneer in starting this particular event. That I would like to highlight. And about the Ocean Conservancy. So the organization, the NGO, which has given the dedicated efforts to make this event successful and reach many countries. So that will be a part of introduction, and further we will go on to the impact of plastics. My slide is visible to all? Ma'am, is my slide is visible to all? Samson ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, it is not changing.
No, I have not changed. Now it's changing, no? But my slide is visible, right?
Yeah, yes, sir. Now it is visible.
Yeah, it's changing, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So, to know about the Ocean Conservancy, how the event has been started, the two persons are mainly behind the idea of starting this International Coastal Cleanup Day. One, Linda and Kathy. So these are the two persons who initially started the International Coastal Cleanup Day. The image what we see here is the first Coastal Cleanup Day they started in Texas. Actually, the Ocean Conservancy was basically when it had its operation in Texas. Kathy was writing a report on plastics in the ocean. As an NGO, they have been writing a report or a brief study. During that time, Linda has joined the organization Ocean Conservancy in 1986, and they wanted to do something about the plastic pollution in the environment, especially in the coastal beaches. So when they've been working on the report, they started collecting the data regarding what is the composition of plastics which has been added to the coastal region. So that given them an idea about how we can make it a standardized data so that we can track it for a longer period of time, and it can be given to an informed solutions for conservation. So that was the idea on which Linda and Kathy has initially started the Coastal Cleanup Day, and now more than 100 countries are participating in this Coastal Cleanup event, and that was the success of the two ladies who initiated the event in 1986. And about Ocean Conservancy, is my slide is changing?
Sir, not sir. The previous, now okay.
Okay. I think it's taking some time to
Yes,
change
sir. Yes, sir.
because we are now I'm connected to mobile network. As I told you
Okay, sir.
yesterday, we had some problem with the connectivity in our university network.
Yes,
Okay,
sir. Yes, sir.
so please bear with me, ma'am.
No
Okay,
problem, sir.
so regarding the Ocean Conservancy, uh, so that is about the International Coastal Cleanup Day. In 1986, the International Coastal Cleanup Day was started. But this International Coastal Cleanup Day is being organized by an organization called Ocean Conservancy, in which the two ladies have been working. And that is the interesting point why Ocean Conservancy has been started. The Ocean Conservancy was started by one Mr. Bill Kader. He was a marketing expert in one of the organization in US, and he was attending an annual International Whaling Commission 1971. So during that time, he had a conversation with John Denver. He is a legendary singer in US during those days. And two of them, when in discussion, in a casual talk, they wanted to do something to conserve the whale. So that strike Bill, and he immediately founded in the next year, 1972, originally the Delta Corporation, an NGO. It was originally a Delta Corporation, and later it became Ocean Conservancy. So that was the history about the development of Ocean Conservancy. And after 1982, I mean, International Whaling Commission banned the commercial whaling in 1982. And after starting in 1972, 10 years, he was able to fight with a lot of organizations to bring out success for stopping the whaling in US waters. So that was the inspirational message I just wanted to convey to youngsters. And after 1982, till 82, the organization was focusing on only the particular species or one particular group. But later, they started thinking, why we are concentrating only on the group? It is a bigger area. We need to understand about how the habitat are getting affected. So the objective of the organization has slowly shifted from the species level approach to ecosystem based approach. And this is the main reason they started working on the plastic debris report, and that plastic debris report has given them the lead to start the first international coastal cleanup program in 1986. Okay, so now we all know that plastic is the main composition in marine debris, where we can see in offshore as well as onshore. To have a brief history about the plastics. The plastics are any material with a wide range of synthetic and semi-synthetic compounds. And since it is malleable and can be moldable, it can be of any use. So that is the success of using the plastics in our day-to-day life. How it has been invented? Actually, the plastic is not purposefully invented. It was an accidental invention. In 1862, Alexander Parkes introduced the world's first ever man-made plastic at London International Exhibition. Actually, he was trying to find a substitute for synthetic shellac, a wood finisher, but accidentally he invented the plastic. So later, the use of, you should know, once it has been invented, it has been highly used as an alternative for ivory on the horn. So the purpose when it was introduced was much useful for the society, because those days the ivory and the horn are much used for many of our day-to-day life. So the people were so happy we had a substitute. Okay, so during 1862. Later, many synthetic polymers has been invented. Many scientific discoveries has become increasing inputs, and that leads to an first synthetic polymer formed by John Wesley Hyatt in 1869. Okay, so that was the introduction of plastic to human mankind, and later when the it was during 1860s and 70s, plastics has become increased among the human society. Exactly after 100 years, during 1980s, Rachel Carson identified, she was a actually she was not a scientist, and she was not a big environmentalist. She is a natural lover. Actually, she wanted to know how these plastics are getting disposed on, how these plastics are getting ended up in the environment. So she write a book on Silent Spring during 1980s. So that made revolutionary. That was the seed for all the environmental issues which has been started discussion and raised among the public about the concern for environment. So this was the first book which could able to invoke the problem of plastics in environment. And this book is available in the Amazon. If you read this book, you will get an interesting information about how those days the plastic was much in use among the human, and how these plastics are getting disposed, and what type of effects the people has been experiencing due to plastics in those 1980s. Okay, so during 1980s, that was the first sign to think about how to tackle the plastics in the environment. So later, people started working after 1980s. What are all the effects of plastics on human health? So in that case, the first problem they encountered was BPA, bisphenol, which is most discussed leach out of plastics. It's a chemical called phthalates, and this even now you can find in PET bottles, which has been used for your drinking water, or you are using some cookware or storing containers. All these are getting chances of leaching out of phthalate compounds. These are much much hazards to human health. So what they do is, in a very high dose, they can disrupt the endocrine system of human. So imagine without knowing the seriousness, or without knowing where this compound is getting added to our system, we are using it. So after 1980s, the research on these phthalate compounds is on much discussion, and similarly, we can find some of the packing containers, the food packing containers, are being banned of using this bisphenol A compound especially. And you can find in the composition of some of the container compounds the level of bisphenol A. That will give you a much awareness about whether this compound is present in the packing containers what we use in our day-to-day life. And you can see much research has been done on this particular compound on human system. But what is the effect on marine organisms, or what is the effect on land organisms, which have been much exposed to plastic pollution? So it is a big research gap where we have to think in future. And how this plastics make their entry, the dynamics, when we trace the dynamics of the plastics entering into the marine environment. Actually, again, the reason for much discussion on this plastic dynamics has started in 1960s, and you can see the history of developments. In 1960s, there was a report on the seabird's gut carrying some of the plastics. And similarly, during 80s and 90s, a lot of reports has been started publishing on what is the composition of the plastics in the marine organisms are seashore birds. So as a consequence, where we can find that plastics represents a considerable proportion of 50 to 80% of shoreline debris. So it has reached a much highlighted point, and you can find in the schematic diagram the major source for plastics is from the land source, and also the another major source is the ship sailing, the ship sailing in the sea. They dispose plastics in the ocean. So these are the two main sources, and once it has been disposed of, they are subjected to photochemical oxidation, and they leach out the plastics compositions, and these leach outs are being entering into the food web of the marine organisms. And this is a general dynamics of plastics. And when it comes to microplastics, so after 2000, a lot of discussion has been taken on microplastics. So how microplastics are getting their entry into the human system, and also much has been talked about the use of microplastics in our day-to-day life. See, when we start our day-to-day life with microplastics, when we use the toothpaste, you can find here small granules like these are microplastics. And the toothbrush, what we use, the bristles is of plastics. When we use for a longer period of time, then it will be a much impact where you have an much exposure to microplastics. You will be having a much risk of exposed to microplastics in your day-to-day life. This is one such example. The morning you brush, and you take the water from your water bottle, the containers what we use for food packing, and sometimes the tea cups what we use plastics, and sometimes when you go for some tour or vacation, we use plastic plates. So all nowadays you have been using plastics knowingly or unknowingly, the risk of using the plastics in our day-to-day life. So that we cannot deny. And as a solid waste, we see plastics as a biggest menace. But when it leaches out, it comes as another menace called microplastics. The first time the study confirms the presence of microplastics in Indian cosmetics. I think most of the participants in this session are girls. You should think of using the cosmetics, and whether the cosmetics is having such an microplastics embedded in it, you think twice and use when you're using the cosmetics. Okay, now you coming to the impact directly, and as I told you, the impact is not much visible to our eyes. Okay, see, if the plastics are consumed by the bird, or the plastics are consumed by any of the marine organisms in the food chain, it is not visible to us. But when you see much deep into the plastics distribution in the marine environment, it is really heartbreaking that the plastics are much dangerous to the marine organisms than to the humans. Especially how the plastics are affecting the marine organisms. The first route is either the plastics are getting ingested or entangled. The organisms, either they ingest the plastic or the plastic material will entangle the organism. This is the one possible impact. The second possible impact of the marine organisms are either the marine organism will take the plastics and these chemicals which leach out of the plastics will harm their physiology, growth, and their biochemical activities. So this is as a general, this is the impact what we can see in the marine organisms, and let's see how each organisms are getting affected. And you can see in the image and the dead albatross chick, how the plastics are being taken from its gut, and you can see a seahorse wraps its tail around the plastic cotton. The earbuds what we use is been I think when you see this, seahorse is playing on the earbuds. And another thing you can see here, the grunfish, which has been entangled by plastics, is being restricted with the growth. The growth is getting affected. Similarly, the seabirds, whales, fishes, turtles, they mistake the plastic waste as a prey and they consume these plastics. Of course, you know very well, once the plastics get entering into the gut, the organism will feel that the stomach is full and it will not eat much, and it will die by starvation. So these are the much evident effects where we can see in the impact of plastics on marine environment. And when we see in detail, you can see in the picture over here, the I think, yeah, the slide has changed. Here in this image, the jellyfish is being mistaken for the plastic bags which has been suspended in the water column. So what actually the turtles will do? They think this particular plastic as their food, and they ingest the plastics. Not only the turtles, the seabirds do like that. Fish, they do, the whales, sometimes they make the mistake and they eat plastics as their food. And how this reaches the human mankind? Of course, this plastics, the size and the terminology of plastics are still in vary among the scientists' representation. Right now, many of the scientists accept that the microplastics less than 5 mm of any plastics are termed as microplastics. And the plastics which are getting leached out, they get an UV mechanical and microbial degradation, and the microplastics will be released as the day as the principal has rightly pointed out. The day today is a World Microbiology Day, and you can find the microbes, organisms, the microbes play much role in disintegrating the microplastic, I mean the plastics. And the microorganisms can be well handled or well tackled, maybe used as a tool to tackle the plastic pollution. As the day commemorates both the International Coastal Cleanup Day as well as the World Microbiology Day. So the people, I mean the students can think about how the microorganisms play a major role in controlling the plastic pollution in the environment. And similarly, as today is the Social Justice Day, we do a justice to not only the human fellow, I mean our friends, our society, and also to the natural resources. So this three can be have you it in mind that you are in the right day, you are observing this program commemorating all the three important things. So the microplastics, when it has been acted upon by microorganisms, much they've been fragmented again, and they go to the level of even nanoplastics. And this will be ingested by fishes. And of course, when the fish has been preyed by seabirds or aquatic life, or even ultimately reaches the human, the bioaccumulation and biomagnification effect will be very evident. And of course, as I told you, the size is still many scientists they classification of microplastics are still under discussion, whereas some standard books says that less than 1 micrometer nanoplastics, 1 micrometer to 5 millimeter is microplastics, and then 5 to 200 millimeter is mesoplastics, and more than 2 mm is macroplastics. So whatever be the size, as the size ranges depends on the mouth size, depends on the mouth size of the organisms. The respective plastics have the influence on marine food web. So you can see from the diagram, the nanoplastics are more influencing the bacteria and even the plankton. And plankton are the base in the food chain. So once the plankton has been affected, it will move on to the food chain to larvae, fish, seabirds, turtles, and ultimately the top predator mammals are the human. So now a new terminology has been used called Platy Sphere. So what is Platy Sphere? Where I think the slide has not changed. Samson ma'am, is the slide changed?
Yes, sir. It's changing.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the, a new terminology is called a Platy Sphere. Platy Sphere is, so when you observe the plastic which is being spread on the surface, that will act as a substrate for the microorganisms. So microfilm will form over the plastic, and over the bacterial biofilm, colonization will start forming. So about after 2 weeks, you can find diatoms will form over that, and colonizing organisms, hydroids, will also form in the meantime. So this is like a normal succession where you can find in a barren land. So you are creating a new succession in a marine environment, which is been floating in the environment. So this is a biggest challenge for marine environment. Maybe a new invasive species may get introduced to a new area. So that risk will be there in forming just a platysphere. And this is very common when there is much of pollutions from voyage ships, because these voyage ships will be dumping the plastics from one place to another places during their voyage. So that is of high risk of invasive species are getting landed up here. And another thing is the microplastics looks like a plankton. As I told you, the another important problem here we have is the impact of plastics on coral reefs. So the reef building corals, they mistake the plastics as the plankton, and they imbibe the plastics into their system, and this will have the impact on their growth, their health, as well as their photosynthesis will get affected. So in our region where your college is situated, you have a rich resource of coral reefs. Students, please keep it in mind. As I told you, a small initiative will bring big changes in the society. So if you are much working on the plastic pollution in your area, you can find how these microplastics have influence on the coral reefs will be a big challenge and an eye-opening to the society with some interesting results. Because coral reefs, once it's getting affected or exposed to the plastics, definitely there will be an impact on their growth, their health, as well as the photosynthesis. Of course, recently the bleaching activity has been very common in Gulf of Mannar region. We corroborate this particular reason as change in the climate as well as some physiochemical parameters. And some inputs is also required how the plastic pollution is been impacting the coral reefs in that area. And you can find in the image, on microscopic image, the plastic is being imbibed in a tube worm. So this is all because of the mistaken of plastic for the plankton as their prey. So microplastics an invisible danger to human health. As I told you, these these impact are not visible to you. So suppose if you are seeing in the land in a dumping site, you can find a cow which is been consuming plastics. We know, we visually see that, and we try to influence and we try to do something. But the microplastics danger is very, very invisible, which is happening in the marine environment and ultimately reaching the human. So that is very, very important. It is not that it is something happening in the marine environment and end up there. So the pollutant absorb the chemicals, and the chemicals are which are much toxin infused. These toxins are highly susceptible, which may lead to various disease, as well as they harm or they impair the reproduction of human. So nowadays a lot of research is going on how the reproductive organs are getting affected by microplastics. As I told you, not only the microplastics reaching through the marine food web, as well as in our day-to-day life, whatever the materials we using, we have microplastics, and that have a direct impact on our system. So now, so far we have seen about how the plastics are impacting the human through the food chain. But now, as I told you, the another important impact is entangling. The abandoned nets which has been left in the ocean, the organisms are accidentally getting trapped, and this is called ghost fishing. The ghost fish, ghost gear and ghost fishing. The fishermen who go for fishing, sometimes they forget to take back the net, or they place the net in some place, and due to some churning out in the under sea bottom, the net maybe get displaced from one place to another place. So during that period, the fishermen may not able to trap the net again, and they leave the net there itself. Now those nets are become much dangerous. The fishes or any organisms will getting trapped and may not get escape from it. Even the plastics, the plastic bags which we leave in the environment, sometimes the organisms will get trapped. As you see here, the crab which entered into the plastic could not come out, and you can see the barracuda fish which is getting trapped could not come out. And the another net where you can see is called a bamboo net, a trap net. It is much popular in Kilakarai area. You can find in the Kilakarai market in the noon time, a lot of fish come in these bamboo nets, and this is a traditional practice of catching fishes by trap net. And these trap nets is getting easily displaced from one location to another due to rough weather in the ocean. So that time the fishermen may not be able to trap, and these type of nets are much dangerous in our Gulf of Mannar area. During our diving scenarios, we have encountered much of nets like this in the Gulf of Mannar area. And another thing is the fishermen, when they use the bios and also the aquaculture, marine aquaculture activities which are happening in the environment, they leave the polystyrene foams. We call it as a thermocol material. This polystyrene foam are used as float in the marine environment. Sometimes these floats are getting disintegrated, and they washed away from a place where it is erected to some other place, and these organisms may take it as some food or something like that, and they eat, and of course this gets in the direct impact to the system. And another thing is marine animals, when they consume the plastics, and they ultimately reach the humans by various activities. This we already seen. Of course, the plastic as a solid waste we release into the marine environment. It leach out and enter into the human system as microplastics, and they have a lot of influence on physiology. This is a one case where you can see here, when you take an oral injection of microplastics or nanoplastics, they enter your digestive system, they uptake and transport into the intestinal epithelium. And of course, your microplastics or nanoplastics uptake and transport into the liver. So that is very, very dangerous. So if it has been the bioavailability is been increased for the uptake and transport into the liver, then the person will be at high risk. So we have to check our lifestyle, whether we are much exposed to microplastics, or we are not much giving chance of the bioavailability for microplastics. Okay, so far we have been talking much about the microplastics or plastics impact on the marine environment. Of course, these informations are very clear in the day-to-day newspapers or many social media networks and all. But even though we cannot deny the revolutionary lifestyle change, or the revolutionary sophistication what the plastics has given to human mankind. See, the modern medicines what we have is because of the plastic, and the gadgets what we use now, slim phone, mobile phones, what we have in our hand is because of the plastics that bear very small chips. And of course, you must be knowing how the information age has transformed our life. So the plastic has become one of the mm, most important material in our life, that has given us both a positive as well as negative impact. So how we are going to handle, it's a very big question. As a young generation, students has to keep it in mind what we are going to do for another 50 years. As I told you, after 100 years we realized the impact of plastics, and now it is not too late. The how we are going to use the plastic environment friendly. So that type of research or that type of thinking has to be incorporated in our mind. So in 2018, Save Our Shores, one of the NGO, has started a rally or a theme of research called the Sinister Six. The Sinister Six is one of the movement right now. A lot of organizations are started following. The Sinister Six is meaning six important plastics we should ban immediately, or we should be very careful in using this. The first one is the eliminate single serve plastic beverage bottles. So keep it in mind. Nowadays, a lot of peoples we can observe, they taking metal bottles for their drinking purpose to their office or schools or colleges, whatever it may be. So that started initiating in mind. That is the good initiative. The second thing is eliminate single-use toiletry bottles. So when you go to some hotel or hospitality industries, you can find the single-use toiletry bottles will be there. There will be shampoo, there will be oil, something like that. Materials will be there. Toiletry bottles will be there. So that should be eliminated, and instead of that, auto dispenser metal materials can be used. So that is the concept. Now it has been coming up very much. And prevent microfiber pollution. This is very important. So synthetic clothing will release small microfibers, and these microfibers, when we have been using in our home for washing, when you washing these clothes, these fibers enter the ocean. Ultimately, the fish consume them, the fibers, and it will reach the people as a human as the highest predator. So this is very important. Microfibers, we have reported this microfibers is one of our recent study in our lab, especially in Kilakarai region. So this is of much important discussion. The students should keep it in mind. In your own area, we have taken some field samples and found that microfibers are a very dominant pollutant in Kilakarai coast. And the second and the next important thing is stop flushing the contact lenses. So much of the persons who have been using the contact lens, they simply disperse the contact lens in the flush. So that should not be done. It should be properly disposed as per the instructions given on the lens company. So that is not being practiced by common people. That awareness should be increased and prevent the sale of balloons. The balloons is another big dangerous plastic material to ocean. So that should be stopped. And ultimately, the last is the eliminate single-use coffee pots. What I think now much awareness has come on using the single-use coffee pots, because the plastic cups has been banned in many countries, especially in India. Serious activities has been going on, the use of single-use coffee pots. And now alternate to that, the paper cups are coming. Even those paper cups also having a lining of plastic, that should also be totally avoided. Okay, so how we can do, I mean, as an what we can go forward in controlling these plastics. Some innovators are developing bioplastics. So if you are much interested to go for an alternate on using the plastics, let's go for a reusable bag, or you go for an bioplastic inventions. So that should be an environmental friendly, and some scientists are working on even biodegradable plastics. So these are two important area of research where students can think of. And or as in our day-to-day life, take your own reusable bag to the markets, choose your reusable containers for hot and cold beverage. Go for your old tradition of using the metal containers, and say no to plastic straws. The plastic straws again is a very dangerous pollutant or debris in ocean, because when we are doing our coastal cleanup program in Chineba Dargah beach, we have encountered a considerable quantity of plastic straws in those area. And avoid plastic cutlery, bringing own alternative. If you go to the hotels, you can find plastic spoon or flat plastic forks or something like that. You can try to avoid those things. And of course, much awareness should be there on throwing the cigarette or cigarette buds or whatever it may be. And you should be aware of using the packing materials. When we've been using the packing materials, as a consumer, you should be aware that whether this having the chances of any leaching plastics coated inside the container or something like that. You should have an awareness. And this is seventh point is very interesting. We are much used to the plastic type of brushes using in the when you're brushing your teeth, but try to go for an alternative bamboo like a bamboo made brushing toothbrush. So that will be a good alternative. And now things are changing. The society has been slowly changing and trying to avoid plastics and much materials, because leaching of microplastics is much high in using your toothbrush. and carrying your own container to take food in the grocery shops. When you, even if you go and see, when you go in the any hotels, they used to pour the contain, any food, hot served food in a plastic containers. So that should be totally avoided. You try to take your own container from home and try to collect food from the hotels. That will always be better at this time of even COVID situation, and also avoiding plastics. You use your own containers to carrying your or getting your parcel food packs from hotels. That will be much advisable. And ways to reduce ocean plastic pollution. So reduce your use of single use plastics. Refusing any single use plastics will be the best resolution we can take in this International Coastal Cleanup Day. And recycle properly. If any plastics even you can find at home, try to not dispose the plastics to the environment unless until you have been able to recycle or reuse the particular plastic in at home. Participate in organizing a beach and cleanup program. That is what I'm happy that your college has been associating with us for the past 7 years in coastal cleanup program. And due to this COVID situation, we are confining to the webinar awareness programs like this. But once the situation is over, I request your management, your college management, to make a work plan to work in Kilakarai beach to address the cleanup issues in that area. So that will be an eye-opening for the local people about owning their own beach, how safe they should keep the beach without dumping any pollution materials or plastic debris or something like that. So that is a good thing. Support ban on single-use plastic. Avoid plastic containing micro beads. Don't use micro beads embedded scrubs. Nowadays, you can find even in advertisement, washing liquids are marketed with micro bead embedded property for washing your vessels at kitchen. So maybe looks lucrative, but it is highly dangerous for environment. So think twice before using any micro beads embedded materials, even let it be in your kitchen use or your cosmetics or your food, whatever it may be. Spread the word. A plastic ocean, garbage island, and an ocean full of plastic. Like these hashtag words, try to popularize among the community wherever you go, and support organizations addressing plastic pollution like Ocean Society, Plastic Pollution. These are organizations which are much active in controlling the plastic pollution. And from our department, we are doing this coastal cleanup program from 2014, and this particular event has been a large success. As I told you, the International Coastal Cleanup Day initially it was found mainly because of during 86 they initially formed to collect standardized data on coastal cleanup activity. What are all the marine debris or the quantity or quality wise is getting added up. Over a period of years from 2014, we have found that the Gulf of Mannar region is much added with marine debris on plastic bags. The first most is plastic bags. The second is bottles, and the third one is the food containers. So these are the three dominant debris we encounter over a period of 8 years. But what we observed after 2018, during our 2018 cleanup and 2019 cleanup, the plastic bags were gradually decreased. Why? Because the local government has taken an initiative not to use single-use plastics or the plastics which are much impact to the environment. So that initiative was very important, and that reduced the plastic pollution in the Gulf of Mannar area. So, but in our recent visit to Gulf of Mannar area, even the same Senior Badarga beach, as well as we call it as a Kushi beach. These two areas we recently visited after the lockdown, and we found that again a lot of plastic bags are getting added up in those areas. So that is very pathetic, and the administration cannot be consistently keep on spreading the awareness program. But the public has to take the message to heart, and they have to completely avoid using the plastic bags. You can see now it has become again a common usage of plastic bags, grocery in grocery shops. So as students, you are the initiators. You can take the message. Don't get hesitate when you can able to talk to your parents. First, you convince your parents not to use single use plastics or grocery bags or whatever it may be. So like that, you first take the message at home and then go on to the society. And as we started the program with the story of Kathy and Linda, we are going to conclude with the Kathy and Linda. This is a 2019 picture of Kathy and Linda in Jupiter, Florida. They are both the ladies have been doing again this consistently the awareness program on cleanup, and maybe they are not directly involved, but they are still spreading the message across the countries. And you think the initiative they taken in 30-35 years before has sparkled the individual's mind. When I started this activity in 2014, I just started because I just wanted to observe the day, commemorate the coastal cleanup day in Gulf of Mannar region. But after that, when we have been consistently doing years after years, we could find a solid data is getting generated out of the program, and also we could able to track what is the mindset of people's usage on plastics in the local community. So this is a very good message, and when we have been presenting the data in one of the national conference in CMFRI, they much appreciated how the unknowingly the quantity and the quality of the plastics or marine debris vary in this region. So they taken up the message in their report to represent to the Ministry of Environment and Forest. So what I mean to say is take a single step without any hesitation and do it consistently. Definitely that message will be reached to common people. And try to use the single-use plastics, and the ocean-friendly alternatives are much elaborately discussed. You use the jute bags, and you use the bamboo made toothbrushes, and you use the containers, the bottles, which is made up of metal instead of plastics. I think nowadays the young generation are much aware about this plastic pollution, and you will go forward about this. Can anyone say what is the place in the photograph? Can anyone say what is the place in this photograph? Two images are given. Ma'am, Samson ma'am, can you give permission to the students?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can anyone say this? What is the photograph? Which is a place given here?
Students, you can unmute yourself and you can interact with the sir. It is enabled now.
have you visited this place? Can you see? Can you identify the location in the photograph?
Is it Dhanushkodi?
No.
Sir, is this Senior Darha?
No.
Kushi Beach?
No. Anybody else?
Devi Patnam Beach?
No. The last one answer. Anyone
Devi
guess? Pardon?
Devi Patnam, Tirupalai side.
This is the beach of Kilakarai. Your own place, even you Kilakarai shore where your domestic sewage is getting added to the beach. You never visited this place? So it shows you are not visited this place. This is your own locality, Kilakarai beach, where your domestic sewage are getting directly settled into the ocean, and it is not treated. This is happening not just 1 or 2 years. This is happening since 30 to 40 years. When I was doing research, the same place, it was like that. That time much rubbles was there, and rubbles were being removed. This photograph was taken just 2 months before. Just 2 months before in the Kilakarai. Can you now you could able to recognize? No. Okay. So please do the message I just wanted to convey here is, see, a lot of interest is there in environment, especially the preventing plastic pollution or concern for environment is there in everyone's mind. But there is a hesitation how to come out of that hesitation and come for a public speaking. So that is the main problem. Take it as a challenge as an institution. I hope you will definitely bring a big change in this particular aspect. A lot of scope is there. If you could really trace what is the problem in directly settling the household sewage into the Kilakarai beach, and any other possible mechanisms can be done, discuss with the local administration, and you can think over it. Because a lot of microplastics, as I told you, no, we have taken a recent sample on microfibrils. So we have taken the sample from here, and we could found in all the compartments we can find microfibrils in this area. So this is a message I just wanted to convey here, and a lot of challenge is given in Kilakarai beach. It's now open to students to go ahead. So thank you so much, and please be aware that the recent study on IIT Kharagpur says that your paper cups having a container bearing some heavy metals as well as the leaching plastics, and even the tea dip, that is also having a lot of microplastics leach out. So if you are enjoying a spot of food, you like to breathe the air and partake in the drink of water, then you are almost certainly unwittingly consuming microplastics. So please be aware, change your lifestyle, and be environmental conscious as well as health conscious. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir. It's really a great session,
Thank you, ma'am.
sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now the session is open for questions. Students, you can ask your questions to our resource person.
Students and participants, this session is open for discussion. If you want to interact with our resource person, you can raise your questions or any doubts you have. Sir, we will wait for 1 or 2 minutes
Yes,
for,
ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
yeah, then we will wind up, sir.
Yeah, sure, 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 sure. Ma'am, all final year students of are, I mean, the students are only from microbiology department or from other departments also?
Microbiology, sir, and we shared the link with the external institution also. So all the mixture of student is there, I think.
Okay, good, good.
Mm. And sir, we really miss the
Mm.
uh,
Cleanup
coastal
program.
cleanup program.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Actually, this has to be carried forward. At least next year, we will hope that we can go
Yes,
for
sir. Inshallah. Mm.
offline cleaning program.
Yes.
My suggestion is you discuss with the local administration and you try to uh, clean particular region in Kilakarai area, especially where there are much human. Human activities are much in Kilakarai beach. Those areas
Okay,
you
sir.
can take up, and now there are a lot of funds are there in local administration. Only thing
Okay, sir.
they need some manpower support and scientific inputs for them. So, I mean, Kilakarai, if you make it any solution for that stopping that direct discharge of human um domestic liquid waste, so that will be a big sea level change you can bring in Kilakarai area. Why? Because uh, we have seen lot of microplastics, especially as I told you, the microfibrils as well as beads are there in those waste. So that has to be even that you can bring that issue to the management, as well as through the management you can do something in that area. And I think principal ma'am is so interested to do some societal change in Kilakarai area. I think like-minded peoples can join together, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Definitely, we will do, sir. Actually, we planned for the coastal cleanup program nearby our shore, but
Mm.
this time, unfortunately, due to some constraints and SOPs, we couldn't make
Yeah,
this
that we
time,
will.
sir.
Yeah, this year we
Yeah,
cannot
sir.
make it.
Next
Yeah,
time,
sure.
we will do it definitely, sir, with the grace of the Almighty.
Sure, 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 sure. You do,
With
ma'am.
your help,
All our
you
support
have
will
to
be
support us, sir.
definitely we will support you, ma'am. Don't
Yes,
worry.
yes.
And this is the ultimate aim. We started the cleanup program. See, we started 2014. Now you have initiated the program to focus on Kilakarai beach. Like this, we wanted the each and every institutions to come forward to observe this International Coastal Cleanup Day in the nearest beach, so that the society level change can be easily brought up. As I told you, now Chiniappa Dargah beach, drastically the plastic bags has been reduced, and the bottles, the liquor bottles, what is another dominant pollutant over there. But once we complain to the local police station, and they made a regular visit to that area during the evening hours, and they instructed very clearly to the fishermen not to use this place for any antisocial activities like this. So that also is being stopped now. So these are the two achievements what we can feel that we brought into the Chinipadarka beach. So like that we can make some changes if you start observing this cleanup program every year.
Yes, sir. We will do it.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Students, any questions?
In online, this is the problem. We cannot pinpoint a
Yes.
person and ask questions. If it is an offline, if students are not asking questions, we can ask questions, pinpointing the persons. What, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
But anyway, I hope
Yeah,
the message has been
Jumana
reached.
is asking something, sir, to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, what is the impact of plastic on
Yes.
climate change?
Yes, please carry on.
What is the impact of plastic on climate change?
What is the
Impact of plastic on climate change.
impact of plastics on climate change? So actually, this is an another important invisible impact. See, we think that plastic doesn't have any climate change impact. As such, it has been disposed in the environment. But when you burn the plastics, the CO2 is released. When you see the composition of plastic, the biggest problem with the plastic is the breaking of CH bond. So this, when you're burning the plastics, the CH bond get released and the carbon dioxide is released into the environment. That CO2 adds up to the climate change, greenhouse gas, and a lot of issues will be there on ozone. So these things will be happening. And it's a really good question, ma'am. It's a congrats to that candidate who asked the question.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
sir,
Yes.
you said chemicals came from plastic. So, what is the impact of chemicals on environment or sea?
Yeah, that's what chemicals I told you. No, when you use the plastics having a lot of phthalate compounds. So these phthalate compounds getting leached out from the plastic over a period of time by photochemical oxidation as well as by action of the microbes on the plastics. So these chemicals, when leach out, they will be entering into the marine organisms systems through their feed or through their physiological or any of the materials which they consume by accidentally while they have been swimming. So this materials they accumulate in their body as an bioaccumulation process or biomagnification process. Definitely, when it has been reaching through the trophic level, it will be affecting each organisms which are being the predator of the organisms. So leaching is the main important problem from the plastics. The chemicals will be reaching the organisms in that way.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Plastic degrade microbes in marine environment.
Yes. Please be louder.
Plastic degrades microbes in marine environment.
See, actually, a lot of research is going on. This is a really very good question. As today is microbiology day, you rightly asked this question. A lot of research is going on, especially recently. They found that, as I told you, breaking the CH bond is a very difficult. But they found that Pseudomonas can able to go to the level of breaking, not completely breaking the CH bond, but they could able to go on to the level of influencing or weakening the CH bond. So that is what they found that, and lot of other microbes like oxidation reduction bacteria, the Shivanella species, the Pseudomonas species, all this has a much potential for research. But so far it is all in the research level, not complete structure has been given. Oxidation reduction microbes are all potential microbes for degradation.
Sir, I have one doubt. Do you have come across any such microorganism from your submission, gene submission?
Yeah, we have when we go for the
Plastic
genbank submission.
degradation.
No, no,
Yeah.
exactly. Plastic degenerating microbes we have not isolated, but we have
Okay.
worked on various other aspects of microbes, like a small
Mm.
layer, SML layer microbes, and there we
Mm.
found Vibrio species, and even Shivanella species we have recovered. We have given a genbank submission in another aspects of small micro layer, not in terms of biodegradation of plastics. And when you take that rRNA sequencing, that level you can identify. That is a very good area of research. If
Mm.
anybody, I mean, working on that particular enzymes, what enzyme can degrade the plastics, they can go for some basic review on list of enzymes can be taken from GenBack submission, and they can work on those enzymes in the lab. So that will be a good area of study.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
Participants, any more questions? Sajila?
Okay, ma'am. It seems
Mm.
no one has any doubts, ma'am. It was a very
Okay.
clear and precise presentation, which will clear everyone's doubts. Thank you, sir, for your precise presentation. No duty is more than that of expressing gratitude. Now I invite Dr. K. Arundhati, Assistant Professor, Department of Microbiology, to deliver the oath of thanks.
I Very good afternoon, everyone. No duty is more urgent than that of returning thanks. It gives me an immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks. On behalf of my department, first of all, I extend my sincere thanks to our resource person, Dr. M Anand sir, for enlightening this occasion with his remarkable presentation about impact of plastic on marine environment. Your presentation makes us aware of the impact of plastic in marine environment and how it disturbs the marine diversity and what are the precautionary steps to be taken to conserve our ecosystem. This is a noteworthy topic in this current situation. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your excellent delivery. I would
Thank
like to extend my sincere thanks to our Principal, Dr. S. Sumta, and Sir Dr. S. M. Kamat, Director Research and Institution Relations, for their valuable supports and encouragement. Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, sir. I express my heartfelt thanks to all the heads and faculty of various departments and other participants from various institutes to ensure that this occasion becomes a memorable success. Last but not least, I express my thanks to our department HOD and other faculty members of our department for your kind cooperation in organizing this occasion, a resounding success. Once again, I express my gratitude to all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for your opportunity. Thank you so much.
Feedback and link will be shared through WhatsApp. Students can ask questions.
Ma'am, I'll be signing off, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
All for your kind cooperation. Thank you.
Participants, please fill up the feedback form that is shared through WhatsApp. And if you have not received the feedback link you are not able to get the link, please approach us through the mail that I have given through the invitation. We will share the link to you and you can get your certificates. Thank you for your kind cooperation and for your participation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.